Tarkov's hardcore wipe is changing daily, and today I'll be showing you 6 things that you need to know, starting with a map update because Woods is back. When we started in this patch, as a PMC you could only queue into specific maps, Factory, Customs or Ground Zero at the beginning. But now BSG have opened up Woods again, so you no longer have to go via the factory transit or the much more scenic route through Reserve. Many in the community, myself included, thought that they would have Woods open at the beginning of the wipe, and I think that lots of people are happy to see this map back because the other 3 can be quite intensive, and Wood gives you somewhere to just chill out a little bit and not bump into PMCs every 3 seconds. Since the scav timer has come down from 1 hour and 15 minutes to 45 minutes instead, players are playing a lot more scav, especially since a lot of the PMC starting gear sets have started to get a bit low over the first 3 days, so you'll likely be pleased to see that you can also place scav on Woods directly as well now. One tip that has been coming up quite a lot generally in chats due to the factory transit is how to get into the right time of day when you're transiting from factory to somewhere else, because factory has fixed times whereas the other maps have their in-game time dynamic. How this works is, if you queue into the left side of factory, you'll be on the left side of the timer on the next map. If you go into the right side, you'll be on the right side timer of the next map. These don't always line up because the day and night cycle on the other maps rotates around, whereas on factory it doesn't. So you have to go and look at the next map you're intending to play on after factory and to see whether left or right is day or night, depending on which one you want to do, and queue into the right side of factory according to that. In number 2, we have traders and quests, much of which are still blocked at the moment. Given the basic quests came back, this means that Jaeger is now unlocked because you can complete Introduction after accepting Gunsmith Part 1 from Mechanic, but Easy Money Part 1 from Skier has not yet been released, which means that Ref is still closed as a trader. Regardless of what tasks you do, you're still unable to access level 2 traders because the level requirement for a player is set at an artificially impossible level 80 right now, but you can get progress that will let you get this whenever BSG releases the restriction. However, you can't just keep doing all the quests in the game, and some of the grinders in the community have already run out. Further down the task lines, Skier's Friend from the West is blocked, so you can't get onto Peacekeeper's questline yet, and seemingly pretty much all of the Shoreline, Interchange and Reserve quests are not open either. For example, Mechanic's Signal Part 1, Prapple's Bunker, and anything in Ragman. That said, you can get onto Shooterborn in Heaven through the farming questline on Mechanic if you push through those quickly, and up to Tarkov Shooter 3, but so far BSG are keeping quite an iron hand on people getting too far too quickly. That being said, I personally think that Arena, our third topic, is still an issue. Yes, Ref is blocked as a trader, but you can still transfer money from Arena into the base game without him, and the crates too from dailies and weeklies. BSG have dropped the daily cash limit over the last few days, so now it's only 500,000 rubles for a standard account and 750k for EOD and Unheard, but in the context of the hardcore wipe, I still think this is an insane amount of money to be able to move over. Previously, it wasn't seen as really an issue because on scavs you could make as much as this and more, especially with the flea market, but now that all of the items in the game sell for very low prices to the traders, scavs are on a longer cooldown now and there's no flea market. This makes it extremely difficult to make money in the base game relative to last wipe, and the relative boost to how valuable Arena then is very significant. If you want to use it though, you'll need a hand drill for opening the crates in the workbench level 1, and these can have some useful items and gear inside, especially for the early wipe. In number 4, speaking of good gear, loose loot seems to be buffed up quite considerably, with many spawns full of items and containers seeming relatively normal, giving decent equipment like scopes and LEDX more than I thought they would. On the flip side, marked rooms are super nerfed at the moment. Nikita has said that they will change this, but there are many clips of players looting customs marked room, for example, and there being nothing in there at all. I personally managed to get one of the reserve marked room keys, and it wasn't too bad. A keycard holder worth 200k, a Tagilla figurine, and a Mark 47 mutant. But for the rarity of these keys, and only with 10 uses, and having to transit to reserve to get this stuff out, it's really not that great. So if you do find one, maybe hold on to it for now, until BSG tweak the loot pool. An extra tip for gearing up in general is to remember to have a browse through Fence from time to time if you're really struggling. His meds are normally cheaper than Therapist, sometimes you'll find ammo only available on level 3 traders like M855, and he does sell useful gear items that barter for other stuff, for example 3 lower half masks for a packer, or pom-pom hats which then can be combined with a horse which can net you a full press armor. Alternatively, if you can get the lavatory up, you can craft press in here as well by keeping a few items and carefully using the other crafts too. Aramid can be gotten from 2 packers, and you can buy the multi-tool from Mechanic directly. Once you have a sewing kit, you can make scav vests into ripstop, and you can get scav vests on a barter with Jaeger for Slickers bars. The front plate can be traded for a Vita Juice, and with all of these pieces, you can then make a full press with the back plate too. In number 5 though, the one place that experienced players are getting a significant amount of their top end gear from at the moment is the bosses, which is probably no surprise given they spawn with amazing stuff. The two main culprits are Tagilla himself because of his class 5 face shield and his class 6 armor plate in front of his custom AVS rig, and then Reshala and his boys because they often have 5.56 AKs with ammo like M856A1 and sometimes decent armor too. The boss spawn chance has just been lowered to 70% now, so you will still run into them most of the time when you visit these maps, but what really needs to happen is their gear needs to be scaled a bit more to the early wipe. It should definitely be a step up because you do have to go and actually kill them while avoiding all of the other third-party PMC action going on as well, but it shouldn't make you completely unkillable when you do achieve it. Next step ammo like BT, some decent guns, and solid class 4 armor is one thing, but class 5 and class 6 plates are just so powerful at the beginning, especially on level 1 traders, that they make players practically unkillable in many situations. The bosses themselves need to then have more gear variety so that it's not just uber stuff 100% of the time. Can be there some of the time, just not 100%. If you are thinking about taking on the bosses, Sturman is probably one of the easier ones because he always spawns in the same place and there's only 3 of them. I've heard players going there to grab MVGs at night from the guards, which can be quite a big boost to your kits. As I said before, Tagilla and Reshala were very popular because you didn't need to transit into factory or customs to get to them, and Tagilla in particular because factory is so small, which means that you can do many repetitions on the boss. As a solo, I will say that it can still be quite difficult sometimes. With the PPSH and a drum mag, you can leg meta Tagilla in about 26 shots or so, and I would have been able to do it if I hadn't left my gun on semi-auto. Is he here? No! Got to put on full auto. Oh, so close. He's got 1200 HP. Alternatively, you can try using shotguns for leg meta as well, which works particularly well if you manage to stockpile some Magnum buckshot, as this only takes about 5 shells in theory. If you want somewhere else to try, Kollontai on streets is another decent example because he's at the edge of the streets map, which typically means that you're not fighting over other players for him. He can only spawn in 2 specific places, which means you can usually take your time a bit more with positioning and hopefully not dying stupidly. Crap. In number 6, a few things to note about meds. It has now been confirmed to me that the Serve 12 kit will go into the special slot as well as the CMS, making it a strict upgrade over the CMS now, which is interesting. Whether this will stay in the game after the hardcore wipe, I'm not sure, but this is a massive boost to standard players if you get to pick one of these up. Do watch out for bleeds though. These are now much stronger than before, with light bleeds ticking down 68 HP per minute and heavies 138. These will kill you way faster than in previous patches, as I believe the rate is roughly double than before, so there's more incentive to fix them up mid-fight now, rather than straight up ignoring them until the battle is over. So if you're struggling to put together some basic weapons that will let you get out into your raids and actually start gaining progression, go and check out my video on the best level 1 trader weapons this wipe, which starts out with another fun crafting trick with the Kedda. Otherwise, as usual, a big shout out to all my patrons, and as always, have fun in your raids.